Hey everybody. So each year I try to do one type of fall trip. So this time I went back to Parchers. I know I've been here before on some other videos, but I think this is the first one I've done like peak fall season. And this first stop here, you can see the leaves were kind of greenish, but mostly yellow. And I think around 9,000 feet it's starting to peak. And you can definitely see it on the hills on the side here. Also, I sped up the video. I wasn't really speeding. So the first stop I pulled off by this bridge here, and I fished here a few months ago, and you can see the water is actually a lot faster than my other video. Kind of hard to see here, but there's a red bobber by that arrow, and you can see it kind of darts across on its own, and that's how I get the fish here. This was across the highway, or I guess the road. Again, because the water is flowing a lot more than I was expecting, instead of doing a dry drop like I normally would have, using basically a nymph setting. So this creek has a pretty good population of wild browns, but they also do stock it. So you'll get some decent sized rainbows in addition to the wild browns. So this fish here, I actually spent probably half an hour trying to catch it, and you can see that black blob that's moving around, and I think it was the biggest fish in this section. It's pretty much a bully too. You would see it just chase off all the other fish, and it was just swimming around and doing its thing. In the next few clips, each time you see a miss, I pretty much switch flies, and I was using large hoppers. I tried a super big damselfly, and towards the end, I started realizing it wasn't spooked by my casting, and it actually attacked my fly more when I started slamming the fly down on the water. So that's why you'll see some of the casts just look like I'm slapping the water with it. Normally, I wouldn't spend that much time on a fish, but it was giving enough attention to my fly that I kind of still thought it was going to take it. So you can see I'm just hammering away in front of it, and the idea was kind of like how you would fish for bass, just annoy it to the point that it would attack whatever was in front of it. I don't know if that's what happened, but he took this one, and I was able to stick the hook set. So what surprised me about this fish is it ended up being a rainbow, which means it was probably a stalker or some sort of holdover, but it definitely fought a lot harder than some of the other stalkers I've caught here. And because it gave me such a good challenge, I decided to just release it rather than keep it for dinner. The closer I got to Parchers, the more yellow it got, so it was actually pretty cool to drive up the canyon with all this fall foliage going around me. So as I alluded to earlier, I kind of wanted to catch one for dinner, so once I got settled in, I went back out. This section of the creek is actually right next to Parchers, so I didn't have to drive, just walk down the hill a little bit. Once I set the hook, I kind of felt some weight behind it, so I had a pretty good idea that this was a stalker. And when it gets to the net, you can kind of see maybe from the nose that it had some scars from probably banging against the tank. After dinner was accomplished, I decided to walk further down the trail to check out the leaves and fish some other parts of the creek. This is around Willow Campground, and surprisingly it wasn't open. That'd be a cool place to camp if you were there that night. So this section, you can kind of see the risers in the distance, and I was using a dry setup. So here I'm actually trying to cast and not set the hook, but right when I lifted up my rod, the fish took the fly, so it ended up being a fortuitous hook set, I guess. So this is a Harris Ranch porterhouse that I picked up coming back from NorCal a few weeks ago. Usually I don't cook over open flame, but this time I decided to give it a shot. The reason I don't is because I like my steaks more rare, and it's hard to get a uniform rare steak over the fire, but this one turned out okay. Probably more medium than medium rare. So right before I left, I decided to fish this section of the creek one more time, and there were a ton of, I don't know, they were like small gnats, but I didn't have anything that small, so it was hard for me to get them to take my fly. And there were a ton of risers, but I did pull one out using a small caddis. And right before I went down the hill, I looked back and saw this view, so I decided to stop by and take a shot. Thanks for watching. Not sure when my next trip is, but please subscribe if you want to see it.